Hello, I'm Pastor Carl Evans of Christ Lutheran Church in Falmouth, and this is the sermon for March 22nd, 2020, the fourth Sunday in Lent. Now, without a doubt, this is a strange time to be the church. Just the fact that I am communicating with you via YouTube is a strange thing. It's a strange time to be the church, especially a church that has always found comfort in community. You could argue that the way most Lutherans directly encounter the good news is through the experience of being cared for and supported by the community of faith. If you look back to the immigrant beginnings that are part of the history of many of our congregations, it was the ability to welcome and care for new people in the country that grew these churches. To be fair, it was often a closed community. That is, Swedes would hang out with Swedes, Danes with Danes, and Germans with Germans. When the second and third generations all started speaking English, some of those barriers dropped, and the sense of community expanded. But we have to acknowledge that we don't have any kind of perfect openness, right? There are other barriers that need to fall. We're still a very white community in a world that is growing in ethnic and cultural diversity. And just like our ancestors who wondered why we no longer wanted to sing the songs of Sweden, Denmark, and Germany in Swedish, Danish, and German, we are wondering why our tradition seems less and less relevant to the world. Well, now we all have time to ponder that question, just as we have time to ponder a lot of things, like, do I really need more toilet paper? Can I have Fruit Loops for dinner? And should I wear pants today? And the answers are probably not, definitely yes, and it depends. What does it mean to be the church when the church doesn't gather? I think we need to ask this question because it would change the way that we understand the purpose and meaning of faith. See, Lutherans are really good at gathering, but I've also been part of many events where I've walked away feeling like it could have happened anywhere. And could have been any group of people. It's not that there was something specifically un-Christian about the gathering, but there was nothing specifically Christian about it either. Right? Maybe it happened in a church basement, maybe we said a little prayer before we started, but then it was just the small talk and reminiscing that we like to do. In the gospel story today about Jesus healing the man born blind that you can hear on another link, there are a number of assumptions about the way the world works and the way things should be that Jesus challenges. For many people of the time, a child that was born blind was a sign of God's judgment. Someone must have sinned, and that's why the child was born blind. Jesus healing this young man was challenging God's justice. Doing it on the Sabbath was challenging God's law. That's why there's so much questioning and running back and forth. This doesn't make sense. Jesus is challenging the way the world works. And the young man can only say what he has experienced. One thing I do know, that though I was blind, now I see. Sometimes there needs to be disruption in order to find clarity. And I think that's what we're experiencing right now, wondering how to make our way forward when our comfortable patterns have been interrupted. There are no simple answers in this time. Churches around the world are trying to decide what it means to be the church in isolation. There are no simple answers, but there is practice. The overall response to COVID-19 is a complex web of finding hotspots, tracing contacts, and medical supply logistics. But the primary response for you as an individual is practice. Wash your hands. Cough into your elbow. Maintain social distance. The theology around illness and tragedy is a complex one that people have been pursuing in the Judeo-Christian tradition for thousands of years. But the practice of Christianity in this time remains the same. Pray. Be aware of your neighbor in need. Show kindness. Be at peace. So I think sometimes other traditions are better at this kind of individual practice. This time is an opportunity for us community-centered Christians to go deeper into the world of personal devotion. Right? Since you have some extra time, there are some practices you can develop. This is a time to deepen your prayer life. This is a time to simplify your life in general. Read the scriptures. Talk to people about how you are experiencing God in this time. Write letters and emails. Deepen your life in the one around whom we truly gather. See, in our love of being together, it's sometimes easy to forget that it is Christ who gathers us. So if you have any thoughts or want suggestions on how to start this kind of practice, feel free to reach out to me. Just like you, I'm around. And if you're anxious and bored, reach out to God in prayer. And reach out to a neighbor at a safe social distance. Although we cannot be together on Sunday morning, we can still connect together in faith. And I will close with the words from Dame Julian of Norwich, special words for our community in Falmouth, a woman whose ministry also started around a time of illness. All will be well, and all will be well, and all manner of things will be well. God bless.